The novel takes place in Airstrip 1, or London, in the superstate of Oceania. The main character, Winston Smith, works at the Ministry of Truth, where he alters files for the party and rewrites history. He feels frustrated by the oppression and control of the party. The party prohibits free thought, sex, and any expression of individuality. Winston has begun questioning this system. Winston's first act of rebellion is writing in a diary where he expresses his ideas about the party. Winston becomes fascinated by a dark-haired girl named Julia, but he hates her because he's convinced that she belongs to the thought police. Winston walks past Julia and she hands him a secret note that says, "I love you." Winston and Julia begin to have a sexual affair, meeting in secret places. Winston rents a room above Mr. Charrington's shop for Julian and himself to carry out their affair. O'Brien contacts Winston and asks for him to meet at his house. Winston believes that O'Brien is a part of a secret group against the party. When meeting O'Brien, Winston and Julia proclaim their hate for the party. Winston and Julia return to the secret room to read the rebellion book that O'Brien gave Winston, Immanuel Goldstein's revolutionary book, The Theory and Practice of Oligarchical Collectivism. Winston and Julia declare that they will never betray each other or their love. After agreeing on this, the party breaks into the room. Winston and Julia realize that they have been discovered and that their death is unavoidable. Winston is imprisoned and tortured at the Ministry of Love. He is taken into the terrible room 101. Winston is brainwashed into thinking that the party is always right. They use rats, his greatest fear, to frighten him into submission. He physiologically breaks down. He ends up betraying Julia by telling them to torture her instead of him. The party members are finally satisfied. Winston is finally released. He sits at a cafe where he reflects on his life. He smiles and he is overcome by a feeling of complete love and acceptance for the party. Winston now believes that the party is superior and right. He no longer challenges any views of the party and doesn't have any feelings for Julia. Winston is just another normal, controlled citizen of the party. Winston loves Big Brother. Oceania's ranks or social classes. Oceania is a huge country ruled by the party, which is led by a figure called Big Brother. The inner party control the country. The outer party are controlled by the inner party. The proles, that is 81% of the population, are the labor power who live in poverty. Then there's the Brotherhood, an underground rebellion organization led by Immanuel Goldstein. Newspeak is the official language of Oceania. The goal of the party is to have Newspeak replace Oldspeak, that is, Standard English. Newspeak is different from any other language. Its vocabulary decreases every year. Newspeak is a language dedicated to the destruction of words. The party want to destroy the ability to organize a revolution by removing words that could be used to that end. It wasn't even possible to think a dissenting thought. In The Principles of Newspeak, the appendix to the novel, George Orwell explains that the contractions of Newspeak, INGSOC, Minitrue, etc., derive from the abbreviations of Russian, such as Politburo or Comintern. Immanuel Goldstein's book. O'Brien arranges for Winston to receive a copy of Goldstein's illegal book, The Theory and Practice of Oligarchical Collectivism. The term oligarchical collectivism refers not only to the ideology of the party, INGSOC, but also to the ideologies of the other two states, Neo-Bolshevism in Eurasia, death worship or obliteration of the self in East Asia. The term oligarchical collectivism is similar to the theory of bureaucratic collectivism put forth by some Trotskyists in the late 1930s. Leon Trotsky is the model for Orwell's Immanuel Goldstein, a former member of the party inner circle who had been purged and declared an enemy of the people by the Soviet state. However, the bureaucratic collectivist theory was formulated not by Trotsky, but by some of his followers, mainly in the United States, who dissented from his view of the Soviet Union as a degenerated worker state. These theorists saw the Soviet Union, along with Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy, as representing a new type of society, neither capitalist nor socialist, characterized by direct, integrated political and economic rule by a new ruling class of totalitarian state bureaucrats. In the era of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, this theory claimed that the apparently opposed fascist and Stalinist social systems were in effect identical in essence, just like Goldstein claims that Oceania, Eurasia and East Asia are actually identical and only differ for their ideology. For these reasons, some scholars have identified Goldstein's book as a parody of Trotsky's real-life book, The Revolution Betrayed. Chapter 1, Ignorance is Strength. Chapter 2, Freedom is Slavery. And Chapter 3, War is Peace, are titled with the party slogans. The three slogans of the party, visible everywhere, are war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength. By definition, these words are contradictory. They echo the slogan Arbeit macht frei, work makes freedom, on the gates of Auschwitz and other Nazi concentration camps. This type of semi-conscious lie and deliberate self-deception accepted by the citizens is called doublethink. The structure of the government in 1984 resembled a parody of the famous 1941 USA State of the Union speech by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. In that speech before the assembled Congress, the president outlined 4 freedoms. The first is freedom of speech and expression everywhere in the world. The second is freedom of every person to worship God in his own way, everywhere in the world. The third is freedom from want, that is poverty, a healthy peacetime life for its inhabitants, everywhere in the world. The fourth is freedom from fear. No nation will be in a position to commit an act of physical aggression against any neighbor anywhere in the world. The ministries of Oceania are housed in huge pyramidal structures displaying the 3 slogans of the party on their sides. The Ministry of Peace is concerned with making war. The Ministry of Plenty is involved in maintaining poverty everywhere in Oceania. The Ministry of Truth is the propaganda machine of the INGSOC state, distributing the leaflets and, of course, the telescreens. Winston Smith spends his daytime hours correcting historical records in miniature. Finally, the Ministry of Love is a windowless building devoted to torture and brutality. It is the home of the thought police. The Party. In his novel, Orwell creates a world in which citizens have no right to a personal life or personal thought. Leisure, sex, and other activities are controlled through telescreens. Sex is retained only for the purpose of reproduction. The figure of Big Brother has been interpreted to be that of Soviet leader Joseph Stalin. He is omniscient, omnipotent, beloved. He is usually displayed on posters with the slogan, "Big Brother is watching you."